Welcome back to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. If you're just joining us today, we're discussing what we need from each other in our relationship, and that's a father-daughter relationship that we're talking about here. And before we went on the break, we left off on needing patience from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish.
Well, I want to get to the next one, and that's what I need most from you is to reach out to me more. I need you to invite me to hang out with you. I need you to give me permission to step away from all the things that I think are more important than really spending time with you, and they're not. Because to me, what's really important and what really matters to me most is my family and continuing to stay connected. And, you know, those little golden moments that I know on my deathbed and when I'm laying there, and what flashes, you know, what I think is going to flash right before me are all these moments that were special. And I think that it's going to be my family and all those moments that we really shared, these golden moments together. It's not going to be, you know, all the times that I'm, you know, worrying about bills or, you know, focused on, you know, making money or whatever it is that I think is more important. I know in my heart what's important is my relationships, and especially with the people I love the most. So what I need from you is to, you know, give me permission to play a little bit more and to hang out with you, or to, you know, feel free to invite me to lunch and I'll pay for it. But I need you to invite me more. You know, and I've said this to my wife at times. I need you to help pull me off the computer if I'm, you know, working a little bit too many hours. You know, sometimes when I get stuck in that, it's because I'm vision driven, I'm purpose driven, and so I got a big purpose and a big why, and that's to make a difference in the world. And sometimes, you know, what I don't want is to live a life of regret where I'm fighting for other people to win and I'm suffering at home with my own family. That's the death of me, is to know that I got to that point. So I need you to hold me accountable a little bit more and remind me that, you know, my relationship with you is special.
I can definitely do that. I see your request, and I also agree. But no, I don't want to say but, I guess. And to let you know that sometimes I get stuck in the same things too. So I can see where you're coming from, especially, you know, you as a parent have a lot more responsibilities. So I couldn't imagine how much more lost and consumed you get with your responsibilities. And I promise that I will make you pay for my lunch.
And so I'm glad that you said that you struggle with that too, you know, and that it's something that you're working at figuring out how to master and overcome. The cool thing about it is that as we both talk about it, you know, we're both aware of it, so we can call each other on it. You know, if it's a weakness that we both have that we're trying to figure out, at least if we're both aware of that, then it's, you know, just talking about it, you know, like I said, every 6 months or every couple months, you know, even on the show, it's reminding me that, you know, that's something that you're working on too. So we're both aware we can call each other on it.
Yeah. And I think there's probably a lot more things that we're both going through that
are similar.
That we don't even know about, just because they're different situations.
Well, maybe that's because you're my mini-me. Have you ever considered yourself my mini-me?
No.
I think every parent has their little mini-me, don't they?
I guess so. Who's mom's mini-me?
It'd have to be probably both Sasha and Mark.
Put together.
Yeah, they're the combo. Yeah. She's got mini-me's.
So one of the things that I wanted to request from you is that sometimes I need you to accept things even when you don't understand. So maybe understanding that you're not going to understand everything and accepting it anyways, or loving me anyways and supporting me in that. You know, I usually feel like you do, and I usually feel like I'm pretty accepted, but there's sometimes where I guess out of my own fear, I don't share, or I don't let you know what's going on in my life because I'm afraid that you're not going to understand.
I'm glad that you said that, because, you know, this has been something that I've been really working on for many years, is the distinction about understanding. And it's a common, you know, discussion that you and your mom have between our relationship. A lot of times she'll say, you know, I'm trying to understand you. And a lot of times I'll tell her, are you sure you're trying to understand me, or is it that you're trying to figure it out? And I'm now starting to see that maybe there's a possibility that I'm trying to figure out why you choose what you choose and do what you do. And if I learn or practice just understanding, because understanding is an art form. And if I can figure out how to understand you rather than trying to figure you out, then I think that, you'll feel a lot more supported, and you won't feel like you have to turn yourself inside out to please me. So I'll make a better effort at just trusting. So maybe it goes down to trust. So trust that wherever you're at and whatever you're going through, that even if I don't see it, that it's supposed to be where you're at, and that you have it handled, and that you're figuring it out, and that you're moving forward. How does that sound?
That sounds really, really great. Okay. And I also think that with that, you could get a lot. There would be a lot of reassurance in you trusting that if I came to you a little bit more and maybe asked for help when I needed it, or just shared and let you know where I'm at, so that you feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that I'm on the right track.
All right, sounds good. How about what I need most from you is to trust that I would never purposely hurt you, and give me the opportunity to explain myself when you think that there's certain things that I'm doing that's intentional. So, I know how the mind works to some degree, and I know that it makes up things that aren't necessarily happening or is real when you don't have enough information. So there's something that I do or did or said or didn't do or didn't say, and you start to make up a story about it that's not necessarily true. What I'm asking of you is to come to me and give me an opportunity to tell you exactly what my intention was when I said what I said, or did what I did or didn't do, rather than just making up the story and living as though that story is true. So give me the opportunity, and give yourself permission to say, hey, Dad, when you said this or when you did that, this is the story I'm making up. Or if you don't even want to say it like that, just say, did you do that because you don't love me, or is it that you don't really want to help me? Or feel free to call me on it, and give me the opportunity to say, whoa, no, that's totally not what that was about. And give me the opportunity to let you know what my actual intention was.
Yeah, I kind of have to tell myself or admit that when things don't make sense, instead of asking and putting the pieces together, I myself in my mind will put the pieces together, or it'll fill in the blanks, whatever's missing, to create that story. I'll fill in the blanks with whatever makes the most sense to me.
But that's what the ego does. I need you to know that that's natural. The ego it's going to create up a story anyways. The mind makes up stories.
Right.
And so instead of making up a story that's not necessarily true, what I'm asking you is just give yourself permission, feel safe enough to come and say, hey, tell me why you did this. Like, what was your intention? What was the purpose of doing that or saying that?
Yeah, I think I could definitely do that. I could definitely try to do that and try to remember. I think another thing too, as far as that goes, is maybe explaining yourself in the moment, or explaining the decision you make. I think sometimes you make decisions, and because you are understanding of them, you think that everybody else is going to be. And sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes, I guess, out of fear or my ego or whatever, I'm too afraid or too proud to ask you why you would do that or why you made that decision.
Yeah, and I'm notorious for trusting myself and making those decisions, and trusting that because I made that decision from all the experience, the worldly experience I've had, and the mistakes I've made, and all the growth that I've done in myself. I have that, or I trust my instinct, and I just make it with the assumption that everyone else knows why I'm making it, or I just arrogantly think to myself, just trust me because I'm the leader of the family or whatever, and that's not necessarily helping everybody understand why I made it. So I'll be a little bit more conscious and aware of when I do make those decisions to stop and say, hey, just so you guys know, the reason why I made this decision is because this is how I feel, or I'll give you a better rationale of how I came to that conclusion.
Right, and I think that a lot of kids probably want that, especially right now. We're the why generation.
Why?
So
why?
We want to know why you're making those decisions, not just for us, but for the whole family. And sometimes we can't understand why that's the best decision for us.
And you got to remember, I'm struggling, and fighting with all the preconditioned stuff that I grew up with, which is I grew up in a family where if we asked why, we were either slapped or a shoe got thrown at us, or we got the common response, which is because I said so. And I didn't grow up in a home where you were, really had permission to question. It was just, like I said, because I said so, got so played out, we just stopped asking questions. But the millennials, they need to know why. And so I'm starting to understand that, and it's starting to click for me. I haven't mastered it yet, but even having this conversation, I'm getting a little bit more awareness and more conscious about that you guys need to be a part of the decision and figure out why it is we've come to that conclusion.
And I actually think that for the most part, when it comes to family decisions, you and Mom do a really great job of including us and asking us of our opinions or how we could help. And, it's just the little times or every now and then when you make an executive decision, and not that we won't go along with it, but we just want an explanation to follow.
The next thing that I need from you is your forgiveness. I need you to forgive me when I make mistakes as a father. I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that I make mistakes. But what I need most from you is to forgive me so that we can create a new slate, a blank slate, to recreate a new relationship, a new platform to rebuild on. Because if I don't have your forgiveness, then what I'm doing is I'm continuing to reinvent myself on top of an old platform, an old foundation that's broken and unhealed and not complete. So what I need from you is to give yourself permission to forgive me for that, or at least come to me and say, hey, I still have some resentment on some things, or I'm still upset at you or angry that I need to complete, and give me that opportunity to, figure out how to get you past that.
I definitely can do that. And I also would like, I guess, as a request to you, that if you want to build on this new platform and you want, to keep continuing to grow, I need you to ask for forgiveness, or not necessarily ask, but acknowledge that there's some things that you need to be forgiven for.
You mean to acknowledge the mistakes that I've made?
Not every single mistake you've made, but in a certain scenario where maybe we're at a standstill and there's no really room for growth, it's usually going to be because you haven't acknowledged that maybe you did something wrong, or that there's something that you need to be forgiven for in that situation.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that to acknowledge some of the mistakes or the wrongdoings that I've done.
Yeah, but I'm not referring to every single mistake you've ever made. I'm talking about in that situation.
Yeah, moving forward, to be willing to look at where I'm wrong or made a mistake or hurt your feelings. So to be more self-aware of those times that I've hurt you or wronged you, or...
I guess what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people, and I'm even guilty of this, instead of acknowledging what you did or apologizing for it, they try to just continue on like nothing happened. Mm-hmm. And for me, I've done a lot of work on trying to forgive people even when they don't ask for forgiveness. So just for my own free will to forgive. And with people that are especially close to me, I guess I expect them, and not that this is right or anything, but I expect them to ask for that forgiveness or to acknowledge that they did something wrong in the first place.
Wow. So what I'm starting to realize then is that I'm not really good at asking for forgiveness. I'm starting to realize that, here I am saying this is what I need from you, but realizing that in order to get that I got to be willing to own up to some of the mistakes I made, to really look at how I played that part, how I co-created it, where I fell short, and then by doing that self-reflection, then I can come to you, look at you and be aware of how it affected you, and then come to you and do that cleanup work. So I will acknowledge that, and I will make a better effort at being aware of when I make those mistakes to come to you and ask for forgiveness. I guess that's probably a two-way street, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What I need most from you is to let me love you the way that I do. as I continue to see new ways to love you that make sense to you. Because I think that, we all love each other in different ways. And if you're always seeking it in a way that looks in a particular way to you, then you're probably never going to see yourself as being loved by me. So I guess what I'm asking for you is to see if you can find the way that I'm figured out so far in my journey to love you, that I love you in that way. And I'm still on this journey to figure out how to reinvent myself to love you in the way that you need to see it. And so I haven't figured it out yet, and that gets to be my continued journey. But I need you to realize that I am aware of it, and I am consistently seeking new ways to figure out how to love you so that you get it, so-called, that it lands.
I'm actually really glad that you brought this up, because I do acknowledge that I have an idea or a vision in my head of how, being loved is supposed to look like. And when it doesn't look like that, that's when I feel not loved or unloved. So I think I can definitely surrender that idea or those ideas and to open up for room to be loved the way that you want to love me.
Thank you. What I need most from you is to be more affectionate with me. I need more hugs. I need more hold-handing. I need high fives. I need a pat on the back. I need more affection to confirm that that we do love each other. Because, words are powerful, but I think that the spirit, I think our souls need to really affirm it in a more profound way. And my request of you is to be more vulnerable with me. I know that you are very vulnerable in a way of expressing yourself when it comes to your emotions, but I need more affection. I need to be reminded that you're still my little girl, and that I always got your back, and that we're connected like that.
I definitely can.
So we'll start now.
Because you guys can't see, he's holding my hand. But I definitely can see how my expression as far as love and loving you goes is sometimes, I guess, put on the back burner compared to my expression of my other emotions. And I guess thank you for bringing that to my attention.
And what's amazing is that as I hold your hand, you remind me of my little girl again. And I forgot what that feels like. I forgot how to connect to that when I'm not, connecting in a physical way. And so I think that this is important for us to do this every once in a while and to remind ourselves. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to My Conscious Dad on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. If you're just joining us today, we talked about the things that we need in our relationship, our father-daughter relationship or parent-child relationship. If you missed any of it or you want to hear it again, you can always find our podcasts online, or we're going to go over a quick recap. Today we talked about what we need from each other.
Yeah, today we talked about not pushing me away.
We talked about letting people know where we're at.
We talked about the need to notice some of the signs.
We talked about asking for help.
We talked about why parents should reach out first and how important that is.
We talked about how scary it can be to approach your parents.
We talked about being more patient as a parent.
We talked about kids needing to be understood from their parents.
And we talked about understanding versus trying to figure out.
We talked about accepting without understanding.
And we talked about forgiveness.
And we talked about having more hugs.
And I love that, and thank you for sharing that with me. What are we going to talk about next week?
Next week on My Conscious Dad, we're going to be talking about parenting commitments. So what are you really committed to as a parent?
Yeah, I love this topic because I feel like when we were first parents, we were, newly parents with our newborn kids, we made maybe a conscious or unconscious commitment to our kids and how we were going to parent them. And I think through the years, as we evolved and grew and, became, more powerful as leaders of our families. More things got put on our plate. There's a lot of distractions and a lot of things that got in the way of our parenting commitment. Some of us don't even remember that we have a commitment as a parent. So I really want to open up that discussion and talk about what is your commitment, and really explore some things and open up some possibilities that maybe you couldn't see as a parent to help you get recommitted, especially in this new year in 2016. It's never too late to decide that you're going to, take your parenting commitment to another level.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that as we get older, the kids get older, parents kind of, like you said, forget about that commitment, or that they even had made any commitments, and they kind of just start going through the motions and doing whatever they think parents should do, or they kind of just now are making decisions based on whatever they're feeling then and there, instead of based on their commitment.
And you'll be surprised that a lot of parents haven't made any commitment. They just decided they wanted to have kids, and they decided that they know more than a newborn baby, and they'll just do the best they can. But when it comes to being a conscious parent, what conscious parent wants to just do the best they can? It could create a magical formula or some magical ingredients, or a game plan to really set you up to win big, and more importantly, to set your kids up to win big. Why would you not create something like that? And if you had people that were willing to open up that possibility for you, why would you not listen and really, be purposeful in that and figure out how to create that kind of commitment for yourself?
And I think you're having a conscious parent workshop coming up next month, right? That you can
absolutely
go over.
Yeah, next February. It's going to be this Saturday and Sunday, the 21st and 22nd. I got a workshop for parents. It's called The Conscious Parent. We actually are almost sold out. I got about 3 or 4 more spots left. If you're interested, and it's really for advanced parenting. It's for parents that are really committed, like at a high level, to have their kids win, because what it's going to take is for you as a parent to reinvent yourself. And I'm just being honest, a lot of parents don't want to do that work, and that's why a lot of parents won't reach out to me, or they reach out to me, and then when they get some coaching that doesn't fit into their box, they stop the coaching. And so, and there's no easy way around becoming a great parent. It takes hard work, just like it does to lose weight or get in the gym and get healthy, or to achieve some of your goals. It's going to take a really rigorous commitment. And so for those people out in the community here in Santa Clarita Valley, I got an amazing training for them that's going to knock your socks off. But like I said, it's not for everybody. It's the ones that really have figured out that they want to play that game.
And if I am interested, how can I go about getting more information or signing up?
You can actually call me at 661-505-5021, or reach out to me on Facebook at Alex Urbina. You can't miss me. Type in Alex Urbina. I'm one of the Alex Urbinas out there that will pop up first, thanks to Andrew and his SEO team. But you already go to alexurbina.com, ALEXURBINA.com, and reach out. Let me know you're interested, and we'll get you on the roster.
Sounds great. Can't wait to hear about how that training goes. Thank you so much for joining us today on My Conscious Dad with me, Jasmine Urbina, and my dad, Alex Urbina. We're here every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.